Sacred places in the entire world dedicated to the Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe is the most popular. Eventually, she became the national symbol of Mexico, and her story is an essential part of the history and culture of the nation. Her image is found throughout the country. In 1737, Guadalupe was chosen as the patroness of the city of Mexico, but her significance was not confined to Mexico. Her patronage was soon extended to all of New Spain, then to Guatemala, and finally to all Spanish colonies throughout the world. The devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe is based on the story of Juan Diego.
The story is set in the year 1531, which was just 10 years after the Spanish conquest of Mexico. Juan Diego was an Indian, a newly converted Indian, who in 1531 had a vision of the Virgin Mary at a place north of Mexico City called Tepeyac, or Tepeyac. It was a mountain. He was walking by there one Saturday on his way to receive religious instruction when he heard his name called, and together with it, these beautiful heavenly sounds, the sounds of birds singing, of sublime music. And the voice called him to go up this hill of Tepeyac, and there he saw this splendid vision of the Virgin Mary, who identified herself as the Mother of God. And she told him that she wanted him to go to the Bishop of Mexico, a Franciscan friar named Juan de Zumarraga, and instruct him that she wanted a church built on that particular site. And there, all of her people could come, and she would hear their pleas, their prayers, their entreaties, their sorrows. So Juan Diego went to the bishop, who received him kindly, but initially was obviously skeptical. So Juan Diego went back to Tepeyac, informed the Virgin of what happened. He told her about the bishop's request for a sign. She told him to go up the hill and to gather all the flowers that he would see there. It was December, at a time when there was nothing there but frost and cactus and rocks and mesquite. But he found all kinds of flowers, which he cut and put into his cloak, which in the Aztec language was called a tilmactli. Juan Diego took the flowers back to the Virgin, gave them to her, she blessed them, and then he went back to Mexico City to present them to the bishop. He opened up the cloak, the flowers cascaded to the floor, and imprinted on the cloak was the image which is venerated today at Guadalupe.
Some historians see the story as an essential element connecting the Indian past to the Spanish future. The Virgin Mary appears to a lowly Indian at the hill of Tepeyac, which had once been the sacred home of a pre-Columbian mother goddess. Indians came to the site of the miracle and accepted her as the incarnation of the Aztec goddess of life, health, and happiness. To the Indians, Our Lady of Guadalupe became the new image of their mother, who could restore order to their devastated world. She was able to bring continuity to their lives, connecting the past to the present and the future. Dr. William Taylor at the University of California has been studying Our Lady of Guadalupe and what she has come to represent to different people.
She has always meant many things to many kinds of Mexicans. She wasn't just the Indian Virgin, she wasn't just the Mestiza Virgin, she wasn't just the Spanish Virgin. She's appealed to all these groups and over a very long period of time. Today, she has a remarkable appeal for any number of people in this country, especially Mexicans who have come to this country. Not only Mexicans, though. New Age questers are interested in Guadalupe. Protestant theologians are interested in Guadalupe. But above all, she has an appeal to Mexican Americans who think of her in many different ways. Think of her perhaps as the Mestiza Virgin, a symbol of patriotism, a symbol of their ethnic solidarity, a symbol of home here in the United States. She comes with them. She never leaves. She has the appeal of independence to Chicana feminists, She can be a symbol of resistance, but she has equal appeal to an older woman in East Los Angeles who came here 50 years ago, has a home altar with a cheap print of Our Lady of Guadalupe. There she's a symbol of consolation, of a kind of presence, a kind of healing power that's very important to her.
There is a passage in the Bible that says, "I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images." The Old Testament is pretty clear on the subject. Man-made images are off limits. Don't make any pictures. Don't make any sculptures. If you've got something to say it directly. But during the 6th century, things began to change. The Christian church started to accept praying to pictures.
It was the separation of Christianity from Judaism. And in the process, Christianity either dropped or rejected many Judaic practices. This starts with St. Paul. And the first one that was not imposed upon Christian converts was circumcision. Then sometime in the 1st century, they changed the day of worship from Saturday to Sunday. They gave up the idea of ritual purification or ritual uncleanness. They stopped observing the dietary laws. Christians would eat pork, and Jews don't eat pork. So it was all part of that divergence. And the use of images was just one part.
People began to promote the idea that when you prayed to a picture, your prayer passed through the picture and reached the model. Pope Gregory loved the idea and added the thought that the picture is for the simple man what writing is for those who can read. It was clear that the souls of the great martyrs were in heaven, but their remains on earth were filled with extraordinary powers. They could protect worshippers from the devil and heal the sick. Some relics were powerful enough to protect an entire city. Thousands of pilgrims would visit the sacred sites where these relics were kept, and the miracles that took place were carefully documented. In order to understand the religious environment of New Spain, it's helpful to take a look at what was happening in Old Spain, particularly in the city of Seville. It was from Seville that Christopher Columbus set sail, and it was right back here that he returned with his treasures. For decades, Seville had a monopoly on the commercial and religious activity that took place between Europe and the New World. To understand the church in Seville, it helps to understand Holy Week, which is a symbolic conflict between the forces of good and the forces of evil. During the 1300s, the people of Seville began to group themselves into brotherhoods. Each brotherhood agreed to produce an image from the Passion of Christ or a sorrowing virgin, and to honor that image throughout the year. The members who actually walk in the procession wear long robes in the colors of the brotherhood. The pointed headgear, which looks rather terrifying, was originally designed to hide the identity of the person inside. There's a theory that being disguised in this costume gave men the opportunity to get in touch with their feelings and their love of God. Showing religious emotion in public was not easy in a culture that has often seen religious behavior as not macho. Under the hood, your emotions remain private. Some of the members have taken the cones out of their hoods. They want the peak to hang down, to look humble. These are people doing penance. The visual symbol is like that of the cock that has become crestfallen and is therefore no longer cocky. Today, a brotherhood might have up to 3,000 members, including both men and women. Each brotherhood owns from 1 to 3